Yo, yo, yo. What up, Nets Nation? This is, as you can see, we have no AJ right now. AJ is on vacation in my state of California. Um, we're going to kind of we're going to try not let this get like super toxic tonight, but this was a brutal loss, in my opinion. I just feel like it's something we could have won tonight. I understand they're trying to figure some shit out, but ugly, ugly win. I'm not panicking. It is the third game of the season. We should not panic. Um, but this is a game we should have won, plain and simple. Let me just give some shout outs. What's up, Age? Daniel Allen, what's up? BF Proof, what's going on? WTM. Oh, first of all, what's up, Rage? What's up, Chubbs?
What's going on?
WTM, what's up? Let's see who else is here. Not a sheep. Firestorm for life. What's up? What's up? Who? Let's see who else is in here. Just some new names: Juan Lu, Jay Lopez, Daniel Allen, Al Mack. Seeing a lot of regulars. Thank you. Welcome, welcome. Yeah. Again, no AJ tonight. AJ is living it up in LA, going to concerts, going to clubs. Sure, he'll have plenty of stories left. But yeah, man, today was first half. I was like kind of like I was feeling good, like, thinking, all right, we got this. It's close. Because, I mean, the Hornets are not a scrub team, right? They're 3-0. They are a pretty decent team. We can't sit there and say they're a scrub team. So, but I still feel like this was a team we should have, like, been able to beat, even if it was close. And I was just real shocked to see the wheels fall off that fourth quarter.
Yeah, that was depressing to watch. That was embarrassing to watch.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell is going on? And like all of a sudden they couldn't hit, they couldn't miss. You had guys on their team, guys that shouldn't be scoring as much points as like Miles Bridges going off for 32 points. Ish Smith looking like looking like a stud. I mean, just it just I don't know. I don't even know what to explain to like how it just got out of hand like that. Like it just wasn't working. And I mean, obviously, I mean, let's go. Let's look at the stats. I mean, straight off the top, I mean, we shot 25%, 9 for 35 from three. Like that. That's been a good part of our bread and butter, and that was completely off. Even our field goal, 43.7. But listen, the only two double-figure guys tonight were KD. I mean, this was basically the KD show. Like, even though Harden had 15 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, I mean, dude had a ton of lazy 8 turnovers. He was just not looking good tonight. And I just feel like with Nash and his play call, like pulling different guys in and out of the lineup, I think it's safe to say that even though it is the 3 games in, again, no panic here, but I think it's safe to say that like Joe Harris and Claxton and even Javon Carter should not be starting, right? Like I think we know who are the best looking guys right now, and I think that's like LaMarcus Aldridge, Paul Millsaps look better, Patty's look better, Bruce Brown. I mean, yeah, he was 3 for 9, 1 for 3, but you just already saw the immediate. Every time he came in the game, he affected the game in a positive way. I mean, dude had 7 rebounds, he had 2 blocks, 1 steal, he only had 1 turnover. He had 8 points, but it just when you saw those guys in there, the Paul Millsap, L.A., Bruce Brown, Patty Mills, like the game just flowed better, looked better. It looked better with Harden, with KD. I think it's safe to say that that experiment, whatever Nash is trying to do, it doesn't like Claxton's not that guy right now. Neither is Joe Harris. I understand starting why they chose to probably start Javon Carter as far as the defense, but it wasn't effective tonight. Like I get it. Like I don't look at Javon Carter as a guy that's like going to be your shooter, is going to get you buckets. Like I don't even really look him like as like a guy that's going to distribute that well. I just look at him as like a defensive guy. And I just again, why not start Bruce Brown over that? Like I hope this experiment is over soon. Is the best way to put it, because it just I don't know. I'm a fan of starting games out strong. I'm not a fan of constantly playing from behind. And it just doesn't look like, if we're all going to agree that like KD and Harden are like the breadwinners, like they're the scorers, they're the guys that we're trying to set up and get going. I don't feel like these last 3 games with the lineups have been those lineups to utilize that. And it's become very evident when the other guys come in how much better they play as a team. So I hope that experiment's over. Like that's pretty much, again, I don't want to panic. I hope we don't turn into like toxic net nation tonight. It bums me out because I feel like we should have lost. It's no need to panic. They will figure this out. But it is frustrating. It is very, very frustrating when you see decisions being made that you could easily see him. Because I'll say this and shut up. Is it, there's no reason, like if you're gonna, because if you look at the minutes, right? LA had 21 minutes. Bruce Brown had 27. Patty Mills had 31. Javon Carter had 25. Harden had 33. Claxton had 18. Joe Harris had 27. KD had 36. Right? You probably maybe could have used Bembry in there a little bit, but if you're gonna have everybody average somewhere similar to the same amount of minutes in the game, I don't understand why you couldn't utilize those minutes a little bit better with the team setup that works better instead of kind of going more towards the other way where it hasn't been working. So with that, like that's my gripe. I'm gonna leave it at that. What do you guys think, Chubbs? How did you see the? I mean, what was your thoughts from today?
Uh, Put it this way: James Harden, Nick Claxton. I'd say Joe Harris. Who else played bad today? Javon Carter. They all need to look in the mirror and figure out what type of player they want to be for this team and what they want to bring to this team. Because let's start off with James. Number one, we understand that you don't want to be that MVP caliber scorer, carry a team to wherever to the promised land type of guy anymore. But you can't be this passive, especially with Kyrie out. Like you can't do this. Like he was what was his like field goal
His
like
stat line was like I'm not gonna. I'll push back a little bit on Harden. Like you did say it though. He was 6 for 16 from field goal, 2 for 8
6 for
from
16?
three. He had one foul. I will do throw this in there in defense of him. Dude was getting a lot of foul call, like a lot of fouls that just straight were not being called on him.
I'd
Like I
agree.
think Harden's
I'd
gonna
agree.
figure it out. I'm not worried about Harden. I know this wasn't a great game from Harden, but looking some things on Twitter and in our Discord, people calling him trash and all that. It's like, dude, Harden's gonna figure it out. Whether he's still coming back from hamstring, whether he's out
Mhm.
of shape, who knows? But I will agree, like, dude's got to cut down on the lazy passes, but he is gonna figure it out.
But the one thing I will say with Harden, he's trying to figure out with Kyrie not being there for now, he's trying to figure out whether he should be a passive or that aggressive scoring tween step back three and like the MVP Harden we all know, we all are known accustomed to seeing. But he's so sloppy and he's so lazy with everything he does. It's almost like that's not James Harden we're seeing out on the court currently right now. We don't. I don't know who that is.
Well, would you look at the would you agree with this though? Just to keep it on that Harden, it, I agree with you. I get what you're saying, but I also feel like he now has 2 jobs, and it's like without his ball distribution, who else is really going to do it though? And
I
so, like
agree.
you agree, where he is a guy that's getting stuck. I think on the same, he's getting stuck on like, do I be? People want him to be Houston Harden, but we also need him to be the new
Right.
Harden since he's
But
come to the Nets.
it's all down to balance. Because
Yeah,
in that third quarter, Harden could have easily been aggressive as hell, and we would have just blown him out the water. I felt like moments in that third, Harden should have just said, "You know what? Let me stop trying to be a pass first, and let me start getting aggressive. Let me start going to the basket. Let me start doing this." But I would say the one thing that's deterring him right now is the rule change because you see that is
oh
affecting him
yeah,
the most.
yeah,
There, even if it's not a foul, there are blatant calls that are not being called, and it's clear it's frustrating him.
yeah, yeah.
And
I'll
I
agree
don't,
100%.
Harden will be fine, but he needs to find the balance of being the point guard, pass first, let's get everybody involved, and being the monster of an offensive scorer we all know Harden can be. He just needs to find that balance. Next, I guess for all the other role players, like they need to know what type of player they want to be. Joe Harris has been terrible in all 3 games he's started. He
Yeah.
should come off the bench, but in my opinion, I am starting to think I don't want him going forward with the team, honestly. Because put it this way, by deadline, I want to see Joe Harris gone. Like, there's no reason as a basketball player, teams can just like literally everyone on a team can cook you. It's literally a 99 barbecue chicken rate when a player isos Joe Harris, and that is a crazy thing to see.
But that's why I've always advocated for him coming off the bench, bro. Because I mean, if you take him out of the starting lineup, you take that defensive pressure off him, you take all that.
Mhm.
Yes, he'll have to play some defense coming in, but I just feel like there's so much less pressure on a guy like that you can't argue has great 3-point shooting ability. But I don't think you're putting him in the right situation to utilize that ability. And I-
I
and I-
I
and
agree.
and that's the problem with Joe Harris is that it just like you're asking him to play defense in the most critical moments of the game, especially when it's close, and he's just not a good defensive player, right? And then at the same time, you want him to hit those threes, but
Mhm.
again, stress situations, he's not seeming to be able to come through, and that's why I'm like more of an advocate for that
Yeah,
that bench spot if they're not, because I still don't think they're going to get rid of him. I understand what you're saying, but
but not. But like, even if as a basketball player, your defense shouldn't be that bad. Where almost every possession
I
where
don't
you're
know though,
guarding
bro.
someone, you're literally getting cooked every play by literally everyone. There was not one person on that Hornets team that I did not see get fried by Joe Harris.
Let's
And I
see.
think the last 2 people I'm gonna get on, which is Nick Claxton and Steve Nash. I'm gonna start with Claxton. It's time to dead him starting. He should not start going forward.
Are we doing DJ? Are we DJing him?
Yeah, DJ him.
not that we're not that
Not
bad,
that
but
he's like DJ, but it's a dub for him starting at this point because it's very clear his confidence is just shot at this point. Like, this Hornets team was a perfect team for him. They don't really necessarily have a traditional center that's just gonna out bully Claxton, but Claxton got cooked by damn near half the Hornets team. Ish Smith hit like what, two midway jumpers on Claxton in his face, and
yeah.
I don't know, man.
Or the countless times the count like the I will say this, the Harden to Claxton lob thing is having mixed results so far in the first 3 games because I feel like teams have definitely
Mhm.
scouted that, like, because
Yeah.
to me it looks like teams are playing better defense on when Claxton goes to the rack and clearly Harden has the ball. It does appear that way. The other thing that's been more exposed for me with Claxton this
Mhm.
year is that the second he gets a rebound or has the ball or tries to initiate offense without Harden, it either usually winds up in a stolen ball, drops the ball, or it gets blocked, or it just doesn't go in. And it's very evident right now with Claxton that without Harden, I think I'll just bring it up real quick since you're talking about him. I kind of again, it's 3 games, so there's no need for panic. But these are, I like to look at things. And just to start out, like Billy Reinhart posted something the other day, it just kind of stuck out to me because it was along the lines of like the things I've been thinking with Claxton right now, where it just like he posted something like players are shooting 55% this season against Claxton. Guards and forwards are doing 56%. And then he broke down like Claxton is 5 of 6 on lobs, 3 of 4 on dunks,
Mhm.
4 of 9 on layups, all buckets assisted by James Harden. And thread kind of just goes on to say, hey, he's a real raw player. He does have a lot of good facets, but like left to his own devices, he's not that effective, and it does kill momentum. And I think that's the 2 things to add to your Claxton and Joe is that the times that I've seen them in there, they may have like get a dunk or they may shoot a three, but then and then momentum starts going back our way, and they're
Mhm.
usually one of the 2 reasons why our momentum switches in these last 3 games. and it's a
Yeah,
little frustrating to see.
yeah, not, and it's like, and the thing with Claxton, he's not a traditional center, and him being not being a traditional center, that causes the layup line to be so open because he's literally switching 1 through 5 every time on defense. He's not gonna stay in the paint most times to guard the 4 or the 5s that are driving to the paint. So literally every time a person drives to the paint, 9 times out of 10, that's a whole layup line because Claxton switched out and he's on the perimeter. And
Yeah,
it's like Claxton needs to figure out balance, just like Harden. He has an amazing ability to switch 1 through 5, but at the same time, if you're gonna do that every single defensive play, that's gonna cause teams to just literally get a open open line to the paint. Literally, the first play of this game was Mason Plumlee getting an open drive to the hoop.
yeah,
Literally, that was the first play of this game. And Claxton, he needs to know when to come out to that perimeter to switch and when to actually protect the paint because
yeah.
that's
No,
that's
yeah. I
clear
mean,
his problem
that's
at that
yeah.
moment.
I'm still convinced he's at least a season or two away from being where he needs to be. Rage,
N-
yeah, I know
I
you're
agree.
frustrated. What are your thoughts, bro?
I mean,
You've been MIA from the stream for a little bit, so you need to, we got no AJ today, so you got plenty of time to cook up and
well, it was an overall rough game, right? There was a lot of bad things that went on. I mean, we didn't start off too bad, but obviously, with the starting lineup, I don't think you should start Javon Carter, especially with what everything is going now. This was a perfect time with a bigger team. Like we've seen smaller teams completely like abuse Claxton or not Claxton, but Millsap and Aldridge for the simple fact that they were too slow to guard them. This was the perfect team to go up against that. And I think that's the time where like we've seen Aldridge is playing phenomenal. He's making his shots. He's consistent. Paul Millsap is he looks fine on defense and he can make an open three if you need him to. He provides everything you need. And overall, you need the size. You need the interior defense. And it's just like with Harden, I think it's the beginning of the season. It's a little rough for him to carry all this weight on his shoulders. Obviously, he's been doing it for a while, and obviously, it wasn't he shouldn't be doing it this poorly with with the turnovers, and some of the shots that he's just not getting to go down. But it's sloppiness. It's him having to do, trying to do a little too much. And I just think like with Kyrie, right? You give him the ball to score, and I think now he has to be in the role of like he still has to figure out who he wants to be. With him, like not he still doesn't have his full team. Like if you have Kyrie, he knew what he was. I think the rule change does affect him, but overall, I don't think it over affects him that much to the point where Harden is getting turnover after turnover after turnover. I don't think the rule change affects his turnover rate. I think it affects him obviously his scoring, but I think with him being sloppy, that's something that can be fixed. That the turnover problem, the laziness, the bad turnovers. I think that can be fixed. But he's still, it's still the third game of the season. He's still not going to look too amazing. So I
well, I
think it
mean, a
just
lot
needs a
of
little
people
time.
are saying people are either saying he's not in shape or he's still dealing with his hamstring. Whatever the reason may be, we've been, not like we've been led to believe of any other information. He just, he does look slow. He does look like he's figuring it out. I It does seem like he's getting a little because I've noticed that especially to Claxton and his game where he lobs to somebody, his inside, like to the inside, that game doesn't seem to be as effective as it was last year. Um, I'm not putting that on so much on Harden, but it just seems like you said, the 8 turnovers is majority of them were just purely like lazy turnovers, like bad,
Hmm.
like low
Sloppy.
passes. Saw him a couple to KD, saw a couple like to even Bruce Brown. I think one or two to like Claxton. They were just kind of like sloppy, lazy, not like fully locked in. And like I again, I don't want to go so hard in on Harden because I do believe dude's gonna be okay.
Yeah,
I'm not
he's James
really.
Harden. Like, look, this
Yeah,
is
I mean,
James
come
Harden.
on,
Like,
dude.
come on.
I mean, he's
There's been
not. Listen,
so many
we're
players that have gone off to slow starts. It's the third game of the season. Yeah, I got to bring up the Lakers because with the Lakers, they're figuring out everything too. Obviously, we know we know the Lakers are going to be probably that number one seed. It's just a matter of them figuring it out with all the new players. We still have a bunch of new players that we still have to figure out. Javon Carter's a new player. Paul Millsap, LaMarcus Aldridge didn't play much for us. Obviously, like you still have plenty of new players, and you still have to get used to everything with the new season, and everything. You still got to get used to it. And now you have to get used to a team without Kyrie for right now. A huge part of your offense, a huge part of your team. You have to get used to him not being.
Well, all right. Let's shift to Nash, right? Because I've seen a lot of between our Discord chat, between Twitter. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews. I see people defending Nash. I see people just roasting Nash.
Put it this way, and this is interesting because when Nash initially, because during the Philly game when we all saw Carter start over Bruce, and even back to the Bucks game, Carter played Bruce's minutes. I defended Nash in the Discord, and I said, we have new guys. It's not out the window to see how they do, because let's be honest. When we were talking about Carter, it was said he was a good defender. So and it's early in the season, you want to give him a shot. But over these 2 games, I'm gonna be honest, I've seen enough of Javon Carter. There's no reason to play Javon Carter anymore.
Or James Johnson.
Yeah, no, okay, I don't care. The minute James Johnson came out with that haircut, it's like, yeah, I've seen enough.
Here's a question: can Nash come off the bench with Harris and Claxton? Can we have a bench coach that comes where he comes in and coaches?
The thing, because I understand why Nash
different coaches during the game, please.
we pick up Pop to be a sub in every other quarter. Second, right. Pop, you get the second and fourth quarter.
Can we treat our head coach like he's a role player and just have him come in at certain times?
If we could trade coaches, this league would be crazy. Imagine trading.
Awesome.
Imagine trading coaches.
I'm just saying, sometimes I feel like
cash consideration.
Right? Sometimes just look at Nash. Go sit down, dude. You're riding the bench today.
You get a Woj tweet saying the Brooklyn Nets are trading Steve Nash and 2 first-round picks for Mike D'Antoni or Greg Popovich or some stupid shit like that.
Or just the new rule in NBA is one coach is allowed to sit their head coach if they're not thinking they're playing well. They're not making the right calls. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Go on.
Yeah, one more thing before I let you two take the topic. And it's I understand Nash wants to experiment. We got a lot of new faces, and a lot of them are, on paper, good defensive guys. But in my opinion, even in the preseason, we've seen enough of Javon Carter to kind of know.
Javon fucking Carter.
Okay, you can kind of take the back seat to Bruce.
Yeah.
And I understand you want to experiment, but common sense will prevail. When Harden went out today, there should have been no reason we start 4 guards.
Yeah.
How do you
end with that?
I mean, that's the biggest thing. I'm tired of hearing this. We're experimenting. We're trying things out. When it's clear as day, we know what's better and what's not working.
Common sense will always prevail.
Let me jump in there, read a couple. Here we go, 78. I said these first few games we should be seeing the young guys. Cam, Day'Ron, Kessler should be playing. Nash is too committed to playing veterans. Johnson and Carter should not be logging long minutes. I get that. I think the frustration, people do want to see the rookies, but I understand why they're not coming out right away. Mm-hmm. But I will agree with the Carter and James Johnson should not be seeing longer minutes than Bruce Brown or even at this point Bembry. I'd like to see Bembry get some role in there.
Bembry.
You're telling me Bembry can't guard up some of these dudes? He's not I don't get it. That's another one that I'm kind of a little shocked too, is that Bembry's not getting any play. It's let's see who else here. Yeah, Daquan. I think it was either the second or third game too. I think Rage pointed this out earlier before the stream. Like we lost to the Hornets last year, second or third game as well.
It was the third game of the
very
season.
true. Yeah.
Third game
So
of the
that
season.
is very,
Twice in a
very
row.
true. Shout out to Daquan. Yeah, I mean, for sure. So, I mean, with all the criticism and things we're talking about, just please keep in your mind, Nets Nation, like not to panic. Not everybody is terrible on our team. I think we do have expectations. At least this has been my perception of like, now that I'm more involved in Nets Twitter and like in a Discord, and I see this like routine where it's like how every time an NBA player misses a shot outside of like somebody like KD and Harden or like Irving, they're automatically trash, trade them, get rid of them. Like,
Yeah.
I know a lot of these guys they're definitely not. They're being put in positions where they don't belong, but it's like one of those things. Like somebody brought it up the other day. Like I have a hard time calling an NBA player trash because probably, let's see, maybe one person out of the 210 people that are watching, maybe one person out of the 210 people that are watching would get destroyed by any of these, like by Javon Carter. Even Joe Harris would ball your ass up. Like,
Joe
so I have a hard time calling them.
Getting steamrolled in a 1v1 versus Joe Harris is
Joe
Yeah.
Harris.
You know,
It's crazy.
dude.
It's crazy to think Joe Harris, Javon Carter would even with him being like 6'1", he would do a 360 on us.
Yeah, I guarantee you, dude.
I'll baby Javon Carter.
I would bet.
I will
Well, he
baby
gets
Javon
fouled.
Carter.
Let's put it this way: he gets
No.
fouled
He'll just
a
jump
lot
over
for
you, bro,
sure.
like a dunk contest.
I'll be damned if Joe Harris or Javon Carter tries to like literally
Dunk
like,
on you.
No. You're gonna get an elbow. You're getting put. No.
Yeah, this guy says he goes, I'm 6'3", my guy would block Javon Carter's weak ass fly. I doubt it, bro.
I'll swat that.
I'll
smack that to the southern hemisphere.
Hey, but
how about this? Jay Wood, go to your local community college or the closest that has any division basketball or any kind of pro basketball and take a video of you blocking somebody like Javon Carter size. I'd be down to see that, and then send that video in. I'm just saying, like,
we definitely plan on stream.
On trading Joe?
No. Like the dude's highlight, the dude's Planet Fitness highlight.
Yeah. I need to see that highlight. I think you could create something like that. But I mean, it just. Yeah, go on, Rich. Go for it.
For everyone panicking, it's just like, hey, man, only 79 more games left. Only 79 more games left.
I agree. I mean, again, people do need to slow their roll. It is the third game. It is frustrating. I highly doubt any of us thought we were going to lose to the Hornets today. I sure as hell didn't, right? But it is true. I have to put that message out there to everybody to like just. Yes, we're frustrated with Nash and his choice of players to put in. And then what's even worse is those choices, and then we're watching these players get consistently exposed. And then he brings in the other players we want in and either doesn't bring them in long enough or they come in, do good, and then takes them out right away or doesn't go back to what was working earlier. And I think that's like where my biggest frustration with Nash as a coach is, and I'm not like I hate this. We're just trying different things out. We're experimenting, and it's like I get that, but like, are you still trying to win the game? Like, aren't you still trying to win the game, even if it is the third game in the season? Like,
it's just something you don't experiment with.
Yeah, I mean, but honestly, I watched, and with my perception in chat, let me know if you guys like. I saw KD going off on Claxton. I saw Harden and KD visibly frustrated after just crappy plays, lazy plays. Like, so the frustration is there. Like, you do see it. Like, you do see them being a little irritated with how things are going, even in the third game. And I mean, I haven't even mentioned Kyrie Irving once except till now. And it's like, I don't even want to go like, make that a huge topic, but I will throw that in there and say, like, if you're a team and you were preparing to start the season with Kyrie, I think this would all look a lot less different. It would look different. It would look a lot better. And I don't think we would see I don't think we would be complaining about some of these other guys as much as we are now. But it is fair to say that the lot, like, because I'm also like, there's also the argument, oh, well, we can still win without Kyrie. Yes. And then there's the other side saying, no, we can't. We're terrible. But it's like, it is a visible change in the team dynamic when you don't have him there. And there were so many times during the game, I don't want to get into this like, we lost because of Kyrie, because that's not what I'm saying, but there was a lot of times during this game where I did have that feeling and that thought where I was like, God, it would be great to have Kyrie in that situation right now because of the chemistry, because it pushes Harden back to, like, I'll agree with Jordan here. Like, the chemistry does change. And I think that's probably part of the thing where I won't go in on Nash on this, is that the chemistry has changed so much, and we have 9 or 10 players. Like, so I don't want to. I want to, obviously frustrated with Nash, but at the same time, I have to be realistic as an NBA fan, and then looking at the game and realizing that the chemistry has changed without Kyrie, and we do have multiple new players trying to figure it out. I just not agreeing with Nash's way of going to find that out, I guess, is the best way to say it.
Right. Yep.
But let's see what else we got here. All right. Yeah, we're trying not to. Hey, I don't know whatever happened. Yeah, if you didn't know, the pro Kyrie pro Vax people were out in front of Barclays before the game, and that's why it looked really empty, because the Nets shut the entrance down, and they didn't let anybody in. I don't want to get into any vaccination bullshit, whether you're pro or not pro. I'm over that crap. Like, if you want to have those discussions, like, whatever, just go have it. I'm not going to bump anybody out, but I don't want to turn like chat into, or even the stream into, like a vaccination thing. At this point, it's like either the mandate changes or Kyrie gets vaccinated, and that's it. Like, that's the only way we're seeing Kyrie back on this team. And that's kind of where I want to leave that at that. But I don't know. You guys want to dig deeper into, let's see, chat. Who do you want to talk about? Because I know the easy target's Joe Harris. We could regurgitate that. You guys want to talk about Clax a little bit more? Like, let's see some. Because we're missing AJ, I kind of want to throw out to chat a lot. I am going to bring up some people, hit me up to come on and just talk and get their shit out. If you're interested, like, if you got a topic, throw it in there. Just put at Saint. We're willing. Like, today we're going to kind of push to more you guys, let you guys talk about, bring up some topics. I'll have some callers in a little bit. We're not going to go super late. We're going to stay in between like the 1 and 2 hour mark with the stream tonight. I don't think AJ will be back until the 26th, so we'll do this again tomorrow. But we're just going to kind of keep it more chat oriented. Daniel saying you look stressed as fuck.
It's been a rough couple of days, and this game just frustrated the hell out of me. I'm not even going to front. This is just frustrating as hell.
Yeah. And then here's Access. Say lineups with Jordan Ott's offensive scheme. People are not a fan of that.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, because I think we got to talk about this. Because obviously having D'Antoni here, the offense looked way better than what Jordan Ott can bring. But let's be honest, I'm not feeling Jordan Ott running anything with the offense here. I'm not feeling it at all. Like, I don't know. It's just a lot of the offense just runs dead.
But I got a question for that. I got a question for that, though, because the offense, when LaMarcus Aldridge, Patty Mills, either Paul Millsap, Bruce Brown, that combination is in with KD and Harden, it looks good.
It does.
So is that more of like not so much Ott's offensive scheme, or is that Nash choosing these players to go in? Because if you're asking me about Ott's offensive scheme with what we started, if like you're going to put that on him, I don't see an offensive game plan at all with the last two starters that we've had, like the last two starting roles. because it looks just straight ISO ball. It looks so disorganized. And I don't know if that's just so much more of like veterans versus rookies and guys that are still like making their way in the league. But when we started what we started today, there looks like there's zero offensive flow. There are zero plays being called, it looks like, and it looks more ISO oriented. But the second you see LaMarcus come in there, you see KD throwing down low, KD like LaMarcus pushing it out. Like you see more ball movement, more setup, especially with Patty. I mean, it just looks to flow better. So, I mean, is that more of a Nash thing or is that more of like a Jordan Knott thing?
Well, put it this way. Look at D'Antoni's offense last year. Every role player had a signature game last year under D'Antoni's offense. There was a solid game stretch where Shamit was on fire. That was pretty much to D'Antoni's offense. Bruce Brown was on fire for a stretch of games last year because of D'Antoni's offense. D'Antoni's offense knows how to get role players to get the most out of role players. And now with Jordan Ott, which to be honest, I don't even know what he does. It's like he doesn't know how to get anything out of the bench. But guys like LaMarcus or Patty, he just knows how to get. I don't know. He needs to stay consistent with getting offense out of guys that are going to come off and just not the starting lineup. Because it seemed like most of the offensive game plan is in the starting lineup, but then the bench is just free fall. Like it's just whatever goes type shit.
What do you guys think about this? The team lacks a lot of two-way players. Some guys don't score, some don't defend. We do seem to have we do seem to lack a lot of two-way players. They're either good at one thing and they're not good at the other. And I think finding that mix can be a little. Obviously, I think LaMarcus, Paul Millsap, all those guys are a little bit better of two-way players than your Harris's and your Clack. Like, it just doesn't seem to be clicking at all in that respect. Let's see. I mean, everybody's going to throw Cam in there. I know people want to see Cam, but realistically, I would have been okay with, like, even yesterday I said it. Like, I would have loved to seen a KD, Aldridge, Harden, Bruce yesterday, Bruce again today. I feel like Bruce should have started today. And, you know, you could have your discussion about whether it should be, who should be the starting power forward. I will always, like, I've just been happier with Kate, with like Aldridge and Millsap. I've just been happier with their play the first 3 games than Blake and Claxton. You know, if you're gonna, I guess that's my thing. If you're gonna keep trying things out, why are we not trying that lineup, right? Like, why are we not? And I hopefully in the next, like, because we are at home for the next 6 games.
Yeah, we got like a 6-game homestand.
Yeah, and again, like I said, no panic, but I'm hoping we see that. Like, I would like to see a game started with KD, Aldridge, Millsap, Bruce. Would love to see it. I think it would be an interesting, like, if you're going to experiment and see what works, then I don't see why not. I know people want Cam to start, bro, but he's just.
We all want him to start, but let's be honest, he's still a rookie, and he's gonna get his shot eventually. But it's kind of just, we got to deal with having like Carter or Harris at the 2 for now.
Yes, that would be awesome if we could get at Brooklyn Nets 11. Yes, it would be great if we could get Popovich, but that ain't happening. I mean, do you think do you think Nash? Do you think Nash will still be the coach? Like, if we go this season, we get to the playoffs, we get bounced out second or first round.
Nash is on the hot seat.
You think Nash is on the hot seat?
This season, in my opinion, he's on the hot seat. He is. There's no reason that potentially we, knock on wood, let's hope this happens. We stay healthy for a good majority of the season. Kyrie comes back early enough for the big 3 to get chemistry. And then we lose to a very inferior opponent. You gotta blame Nash if that happens. Now, if we were injured, you could argue, but Nash is on the hot seat this year for me.
Yeah. Hey, start bringing up a couple people. If you want to come on and cook up, if you're following me on Twitter, you could send me a DM. If you're on Discord, send me a DM. I'm just gonna start bringing up some people, let you guys cook up about a minute or two, ask you a couple questions, and then we're just gonna keep it moving. But if you got questions while we're going on, first of all, yeah, hey, if you don't mind, please hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps us out. We want to keep growing. But if you got something to say, man, just put @Saint in chat. Just send me a DM on either Twitter or Discord. Bring you up, let you cook up. If you don't, you just want to say something, you can send me a message there either way. Yeah, we know. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier in the stream. I think Harden's going to figure it out. I just think he's working way through his stuff. I do think Harden is visibly frustrated with the new foul calling rules, because I haven't seen him complain more to the refs than I have seen him in these first 3 games. I don't ever remember it being that bad, but it's visibly, to me, it's visibly frustrating him and pissing him off. That there, like, again, I felt like there was a ton of no calls on him again this game as there were last game. But I think at some point he's going to have to he's going to have to let that go. Like, obviously the league changed for whatever, like, they changed their reasoning, and whether Harden is in one of those playbooks of like, hey, don't call fouls on, like, like he's got to be like one of the starred guys in that book of like who's not gonna get more fouls. But and I don't know, is that, if he is more aggressive, will it change? But I believe there's been a handful of times that Harden has been aggressive and he hasn't gotten those foul calls, and I think that's kind of what's in his head a little bit. It doesn't excuse the 8 lazy turnovers, but I think he's got to stop worrying about that foul calling for sure. But
any more questions? Any more?
No, I'm sending out. I just sent out 2 things, Polo.
Let me see if I can get some people to come up here.
Yeah, I got 2 people coming up. Let me just send it up. If Duke of Quail, if you're watching, I just sent you the link. Go ahead, queue it up. Yeah. And we're playing the Wizards tomorrow, huh?
Yeah, no. Anybody's gonna fry us. I'm being honest.
No. Do you know how frustrating that's gonna be to like cheer for him at the same time, like hoping he doesn't cook us that bad?
Yeah. Nah, I'm gonna be happy if he plays good, but he's gonna fry us. He's gonna fry us.
Oh, we can talk. We did talk a little bit about Carter, but we could dive in on a little more. Like, I definitely see why they kept Carter as far as defensively, but he's definitely not like, okay, here comes somebody, but he's definitely not one of those dudes that should be coming up. Like, I really am not fully comfortable with it handling the ball and him being like a guy you set shots up to. He's just like, he is capable of hitting that shot, but he's just not consistent. I get that. That's why I think he's better off the bench as like a defensive stopper, especially if you bring in the right starting lineup. We go up, you need to give guys rest. I think Carter's a good guy to bring in. Bembry, Harris would be a good guy with that second unit, whether you decide to bring Patty off the bench as well. Like, I just feel like that's such a much better setup. I know people, that's what they want, but this would be a good guy with that second unit, whether you decide. Hey, Duke. Hey, go ahead and
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Mute your YouTube stream in the background.
Hold on. I got you. Give me 1 second, Brody.
No problem.
Ooh. All right, you guys can hear me?
Yeah, you're good now, bro. What's going on, man? Welcome to the Nets Kingdom.
Cool. And, appreciate you, Saint. Appreciate you, Chubbs, everybody.
No problem, man. Yeah. What's your thoughts, bro? Explain your up and down emotion that I'm sure you had from watching this game.
Panic. I understand it's not to be
Don't panic.
I know, man, but I've waited so long for the Nets to get this far, and finally, like, I can honestly say we have it so easy. The Lakers, they ain't gonna get their shit together. 76ers, they got their bullshit. And it's just like literally all I think our obstacle is just the Bucks. That's it.
It's
and honestly,
right there
to me,
for us.
It's right there. So to me, don't get me wrong, though. I understand. Don't panic. I'm going to try my hardest because we did deal with this last year and we bounced back like crazy. But I don't want to take up too much time. So 2 points. The first point is I think we need to actually move away from Clax and start developing more of our time in Dayron Sharp. And the only reason I say
That's
that
a
is
big take.
because it is a big take.
That's a
But
big
me,
take.
I'm used to the biggest thing that stressed me the fuck out was I'm happy we got Harden. Very happy we got Harden. But one thing I did not want was us to give up the Fro. No one knows how
Yeah.
much I miss the fucking Fro. And when we
That's
lost the
possibly
Fro,
the only L we taken in that trade. That was the
like
only
Harris
L we
LeVert,
took in
I
that
was like,
trade.
you know what? I could give it to him because he was starting garbage. He was really, I don't know what the fuck happened to
And
Harris
it's
LeVert.
but
But
hey,
once,
no, Karras was starting to cook up, but that trade did save his life. So I can't.
It
be
did.
mad at
okay,
that.
yes,
You know, I mean,
give you that
Karras
one.
Karras
Right.
would have been nice to keep, but that trade saved his life. But I'll agree.
It did.
The Fro.
It did. But the
Fro was
Fro,
my favorite player, man. That shit hurt. I'm not gonna lie.
You don't know how much that shit hurt. And don't get me wrong,
Yeah,
though.
man.
Honestly, and thank God AJ's in here because he would have kicked me off the screen for getting on Clax. But
no, he wouldn't. He wouldn't.
I think AJ would have got on Clax a little. He has not been playing good.
He said you guys know I'm Clax, but I'm done. I'm done.
I'm just. And to me, it's so frustrating because even last year, I kept on making excuses like we need to develop Clax, But honestly, don't get me wrong though. I made I think it was a couple streams ago. We all made the point. No one is stopping Giannis. No one's stopping Embiid. But to me, it makes no sense. We got a big man that's named Claxton, and we gotta have fucking Millsap guarding him. We gotta have freaking what's the other guy? Blake Griffin guarding us. What the fuck is he there? The one thing I loved about the Fro, don't get me wrong though, he was getting cooked, but I saw block shots. This nigga blocked LeBron James, AD. This nigga was going
with anybody that went into the paint. He jumped with
and
anybody
the thing is
that met him.
Effort for me. I'm seeing Clax. It's like nigga, he catches a dunk and he just pauses there with his hands up.
Right.
Like nigga, run down the fucking court and get back on defense.
Like that.
I've seen too much broken up plays. The rebounding. You know how long it's been since Claxton has averaged a double? On rebounding, he's horrible.
In any category.
What the fuck is tall ass doing?
Let's try to cut down on the swearing a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to get loud.
No. I get you. It's slips once in a while, but we got to slow down on the words a little. But yeah. I will say this: during the game, when I was watching, even one of the announcers, the Yes Network announcers, made a comment, and then even they showed Steve Nash yelling at Clax because Clax got a dunk, and he's dunking like he just skied through the skied through the lane and just dunked it on everybody, and he's hanging on, kind of flexing. And Steve Nash, I'll give Steve Nash credit, he's even yelling, going, get your ass back. And even the announcers making a comment, I'm not sure if that was also the same play, but it wasn't very far that you saw KD yelling at him, pointing. I think he even touched
on the sideline. Him and Harden, they both was yelling at him.
I don't know, dude. I've heard a lot of random reports he's not in shape, he's smoking too much weed. I've heard all kinds of interesting.
You heard that?
What's that?
Well, you heard that.
I've heard that from. I won't drop my sources, but
let me hear Claxton smoking that Zaza. Let me find out.
You need to get something.
Look at some of Claxton's outfit choices. It makes sense. I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, then again, I kind of believe that he's been smoking too much. I really believe that. It got to be something, because there's no way you sit there and make a dunk and just pause, and it's just like he's frozen in time, just standing there, as if someone's supposed to come on the field.
It's like he couldn't believe he just did that, and he's just so.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, you did it. Move up the court.
I had a lengthy conversation with some of you guys know Jay from Brooklyn, and some of you guys may believe dude has sources, doesn't have sources, whatever you like. Jay's a good dude, and I talked to him, and we had a conversation about Clax that he talked about, and he just said the team was very upset with him, and it has shown that they were very upset with him not showing up for
Summer League.
The Summer League.
Well, Summer League, yeah.
And then the team came out, his own people came out and said, no, we think it's better if he does this. And everybody was under the impression that Claxton was going to come out in a much better setup and shape than he was, and clearly he wasn't. Now, you can tell they are trying to push him I mean, because there's got to be a reason. Like, they must also be seeing something in practice with Claxton enough for them to say, hey, we are going to start him every game so far. There's got to be a reason, right? Now, I don't know if it's trial by fire to maybe get that fire lit under his butt, but at the same time, it is also getting exposed, like how much Claxton is. It shows it. I think part of what I'm trying to say is it shows like where his level of maturity is at the moment and his basketball IQ. And it's like I think all of us look at Clax and we see the whatchamacallit, like we see the potential that Clax has. It's just I'm afraid that people are like, if you don't dial back on him a little bit and really get him to start like, because I know Age used to say this in here a lot, where like give him the minutes, give him the minutes. Well, now he's getting the minutes. It's been 3 games.
And I haven't
He's starting
seen much change at
but
all.
the things that he was really effective last year right now are not as effective as they were this year. Like I do see him struggling a lot more on defense, whether that's because of game shape or not. He does seem to be struggling a lot more on defense. And then I just think his offensive game has just gotten more exposed. Like, and my question with Clax is like, if that's the case, right? And if, again, no panic, but if we, like, how long is it going to take Clax this season to get into that shape where he is running and we're not like worried about him so much? And we're like, oh, okay, yeah, he's not gassed out, he's not this. Like, how long do we have to wait? Because me personally think Claxton is at least a season or two, a couple seasons away from really kind of reaching where his potential could be, whether it's growing up maturity, whether it's changing his workout, like just his game plan of wanting to be that next level tier, because we do see the potential there, but I don't think he's there yet. And I don't think he's going to be there this year. I think it's going to be a next year or the year after. My question though is, are the Nets going to be willing to wait that long? Because this is a contract year.
I've waited too long.
It's a contract year, and the question is Clax a guy that is going to get a big contract? Like, are you going to be comfortable if Clax plays like this the whole year? Are you going to want to give that guy a $40-50 million contract? Because you know he's going to try and get something. Like, I just don't. My thing is, because of the amount of player turnover we are going to have every year, we are going to have almost a 8 to 10 player turnover on our role players and bench and our starting center and power forward every year that we have the big 3.
Right.
Because those guys' contracts are they're all going to be in the 40s, right? And if we re-sign Harden's going to be making $60 million at some point. Like, where are you going to have the money to throw at somebody like Claxton? Realistically, if he is not giving you what you need. So my thought is like, does he get moved this year? Does he get moved before the trade deadline? Like,
if he continues like this, it's going to be by deadline.
I'm just not sure about.
He needs to show he's worth a bag.
I'm just not sure about his long-term thing.
Let's
and then again, when you think about Sean Marks, the brilliance of him, this is the same thing I said. Why would you draft 2 bigs for?
Right.
If we still thought, Claxton, he's still in development and whatnot, but then you draft 2 bigs. So to me, my thinking is, I really think the same thing you said, Saint, with that summer league thing, that was a red flag for Sean Marks, just in case, if Claxton's team, because I think Claxton's team is sitting here pitching him like he's this big, great person, when honestly, I've seen he's not. His team is looking for the money. But the reality is, he's without Harden, where will Claxton be? Defense, I've not seen defense from him at all. Like, don't get me wrong, there are a couple block shots here and there, but honestly, that's why I said I think we should stop wasting our time in Claxton's development, because we said the same thing last year. Give him a chance. Nash fucked up. We need to give him some more time, but it's like, I'm looking for more time for him. And right now, the Nets, we're in the mode where we want to win this year or next year. Next year is like how much long time we need to develop it. We're in win mode.
Let me ask you guys this question, Rage Chubbs. Like, do you see potential? Because I said this guy saying what potential, right? Like, you can't argue with the dude. There's not many guys centers that can switch on positions in his thing. The numbers do show last year that when Claxton was on in his defense, like where we ranked, and it was pretty damn good. So I'm not speaking on offensive right? Like I'm not speaking offensive potential, but defensively, he can be a lot better than he is.
Yes.
And that's arguably what we wanted last year was defense and rebounds.
Mhm.
And we didn't care about scoring. We just wanted a guy that could get rebounds and defend. That was our biggest gripe, but he didn't get that play last year. The time where he was effective in that last year, Nash didn't play him. Now this year you come out, he looks out of shape, he's struggling defensively, and obviously the offensive game is still the same. I think that's the most frustrating thing is you could live maybe with the offensive game because if the Harden Clax thing was working like it worked last year, we would feel a lot better. But now it's getting a
definitely.
lot more exposed
Mhm.
that he has zero game when it's just him and the ball around other guys and it's not being fed to him. Now that's getting extremely, and his defense just hasn't been what it was last year.
Put it this way: with Claxton is a very unique guy where he's now in that bridge of centers that can guard 1 through 5. And I said this earlier. The problem with that is that causes the layup line to be open every play. Literally, the first play, Mason Plumlee had an open line to the hoop because Claxton came out to the perimeter to switch. And it's like he needs to know the balance between being a rim protector and being a switch big. And he needs to develop some form of offensive game because Harden can't hold your hand.
Something.
Like you need to have a jump. How many times have we seen a video of him shooting and he doesn't do it in game? It's become routine at this point. On top
But
of that,
Chubbs, go ahead, Chubbs. Finish what you're saying. No, I was saying to piggyback on what you're saying, and don't get me wrong though, it's not a point of the scoring and the jump shot. I'm looking at someone who's actually going to be fighting in there. There should be no reason why. And it was a preseason game, but Millsap literally had a double. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, Clax, snatch for the rebounds, block somebody out. There should be no reason why KD is sitting there blocking people out and getting rebounds. And I'm like, well, Clax, what you doing? So it's not all about scoring. If Claxton was snatching rebounds, I would have no problem. I'd be like, you know what, shit. At least ain't nobody gonna come to that lane. At least ain't nobody. Motherfuckers is not scared. They attacking the paint. And that's what we had the problem with last year with too many points in the paint.
I don't know, man. But Clax
one
needs
more
to look
point
in the mirror.
after,
he needs to look in the mirror and understand what type of player he wants to be. Because he can't keep going this way playing and expect to get a bag. Expect to get the minutes he's getting now. Because let's be honest, he is very privileged at the moment. We could have easily started LaMarcus or Millsap as a small ball 5, or ran Blake at the 5 like last year.
Well, he's Harden's personal center.
But we all put our eggs in the basket with him.
Yeah.
Bruce is his personal center. The way they going.
They look. Yeah, no lie, no lie. Good point. I will point that out. That was a good bring up. When you saw Sharp and Harden together, they looked great together. I will give you that. Even though Harden did not have a great game, he got in there, and the two of them looked great together. Like I did love that. I'm seeing a lot. Like let me shout out some people. Jay Wood made a comment about Sharp. I think I stopped playing. Shout out to him. Like I'm seeing a lot of like, hey, why don't we give Sharp? I mean, I'm not against it, bro. I really am not. Like I don't have a problem with starting like giving rookies some play. Like I think it's way too soon for that to start happening, to be honest, as much as the back of my head. Like, I know we keep seeing Cam and all that. I think before they get there, they're going to try and figure out all the shit that's going right now, whether they eventually, whether it's made through trade or starting somebody else. But I do feel like depending on how that center situation goes, because honestly, like as much as I want LaMarcus Aldridge starting, I do think they're going to be very careful with him. And they're not going to be hitting him. Like it'll be interesting to see if LaMarcus is in our back-to-back game tomorrow, right? Like, right. And I wonder if you keep LaMarcus, to that like 15 to 25 minute mark that allows you to play Aldridge multiple games. And it's like I know obviously, even CWE said it. Like as much as I want LaMarcus in there, I think they're going to be very careful with the amount of time that they allow him to play. But it is obvious he is the better person for us at that position. I just don't think that, granted, I will say this. If LA didn't have a heart condition, he'd be the starter right off the
Oh
bat.
Jesus, yes.
Like I don't even I
Yeah, he
wouldn't even
lying.
want to debate that. Even at 36, dude would be the starter, right? But
No one's gonna
I
debate that.
wonder.
He has been perfect these last 2 games. Perfect. He
Perfect.
is making all of the mid-range shots you want him to take. He is making them. When he was in that Sixers game, besides KD, he was the only one stopping the bleeding.
Mhm.
He was making
And I'm
every
loving
shot,
his-
every shot, and his effort on defense is great.
But
If it wasn't for him, I don't think we would have won the 76ers game if it wasn't for
Well,
I
him.
don't
and
think so either.
let's
I don't
give
think so.
LA shout out to his mid range, bro. Like the
What?
dead shot of the
Jesus.
NBA. the
So
mid-range.
clutch.
His
We
game
need that
is
so
literally
much.
extinct. That his game is probably just him. Once he retires, there's no big playing like him.
Did you see his quote when somebody like kind of said some shit about the mid range after one of his games?
Mhm.
And he goes, I don't know what people are talking about the mid range game being dead. He's like, I've gotten 19,000 points off of mid range. He's like, so I'm gonna keep doing that, and he's closing in on 20,000. Like,
Yeah, I think one of the announcers said it. He's about to close in on 20,000.
and this is why I hope Kyrie comes back. I really do. Right? Because that was another guy that last year definitely brought the
Lived in the
mid-range in
mid-range.
more
He
to
lived
his
in the
game
mid-range.
than actually going to the rack all the time. Like, I know it's really beautiful when Kyrie goes to the rack and puts it in, but from a health standpoint, I was a lot more happy to see him, cut down the middle or from the side and then just stop and pop a mid-range. And dudes were flying all over the place that they couldn't keep up with him. His ability to stop and hit that spot. So it's like, somebody like him comes back with LA in there is beautiful. But I mean, to go back to Sharp, it would be, I hope at some point he does get some play other than just the last 4 minutes of a game. I would like to see him come in from time to time, maybe in some of those games where once the Nets get their not barometer, but their bearings back, and we've kind of worked through all this inconsistency here. My camera's still off, and we get back to being comfortable in the net, because even with these first 3 games, I'm thoroughly convinced that the Nets are going to play a lot better than this within the next couple weeks. I don't see us looking like this for a long time. That's why I always keep saying, don't panic. It's not the end of the world. Yes, it looks ugly. It's not.
Oh, it's hard.
We're not happy with the people coming in. We keep getting told we're just experimenting. We're working things out. I get it. But it will be nice to hopefully see, once we kind of get over that hump and the Nets coaching staff is fully convinced what works and what game plan they want to run with, that maybe we'll start seeing, because that's the other thing. I don't think you're going to really see Cam and Sharp and Kessler until the coaching staff figures this shit out with the starting lineup. It's just if you can't figure out who to start, who to put in, who to pull out, who's a better player, and the bench, these rookies are just not going to see the time. I know it's an easy call for us to say, hey, why isn't Cam in? Let's put this guy in. This is ugly. It's well, if we can't figure this out, they definitely are not even going to address that situation yet, because it's a lot easier to bring in those rookies when the rest of the team is set up and you have your routine players, you have your nice fit, you have your plays down. It's a lot easier to fit those guys in and get them experience. But
I really think Bruce Brown made the point where he should be starting over Carter.
Oh yeah.
Because to me, there should be no reason. As soon as he came in, instant offense. And to me, ever since last year, Bruce Brown has proven that he should be in that starting lineup. He's proven it. I mean, what else do you want the guy to do? The guy literally came in saying, I know what I'm here for, just for defense. Look what he did in the playoffs. Even though I won't forgive him with that layup on Brook Lopez. I won't forgive him for that. But still, the guy is showing his ass off here,
Or even if you're not going to start him, at least bring him in for a significant amount of the game off the bench.
That's what I'm saying. At least something.
We're past the point of him, in my opinion, not playing games. I can't get that. It just, to me, I'm past that point. Like, there should be no reason Bruce Brown should not be coming in anything less than 20 minutes a game, 20, 25 minutes. Like,
Absolutely right.
there's no point. But let's see here. Let's see what
But
chat's doing.
Saint, again, thank you so much for putting me on, man.
You're welcome,
Love
dude.
Nets Kingdom, man.
I
Thank
know
you.
it didn't
Appreciate
work
you.
out last time, but appreciate you coming up.
No, don't worry about it.
Your
Shit.
thoughts on-
Definitely.
We're here all season, win or lose.
Yeah, we're here. The
So,
true Net fans, we here. We here through it.
I learned very early on. It's like, right, like when you're like, we're saying your real life wherever you live, right? Like for me, I live out in Cali, right? So I live around a ton of Laker fans, and it's like,
Oh, God.
you know, like you learn. It's easier to show up in life and talk shit with people that are, you know, are gonna go in on you because it's your friends. But
Right.
it took me a minute, like, to get over the fact that, like, hey, you lose, you still got to show up, even if you do a streaming show, even if you give your opinions and say the day before you're like, yeah, the Nets are gonna cook the Hornets up, it's gonna be, and then you got to be like, yeah, we lost. Hey, win or lose, you show up. That's all it is, man.
Show up.
But I appreciate you coming up, bro. I appreciate it.
Be safe, Chubbs and Rage. Take care, y'all. All right.
All right,
Yep,
man.
you too, bro. Appreciate you for coming on.
Be safe. Nets all the way.
Yo.
Yes, sir.
Oh, so let's see. Oh, Chem 5 do y'all honestly believe Harden deserves $270 million? I don't know that anybody deserves $270 million. I still
Not
think
in the world. I don't think anyone in the world
40,
deserves
60
that
million
much
is
money.
absurd. But when you look at like what these owners make and like, you
Like,
know,
how is that even possible?
these I know it is insane to think that Harden's going to get 60 million. At this point, I definitely don't want to lose him. So if that's what it takes to get him, okay. But yeah, that's I mean, listen, dude, Harden's going to be okay. You know, I know people are frustrated with Harden. I get it. He had 8 turnovers. He hasn't looked that great. KD's been pretty much the same. People are saying, yeah, he's not looking. He doesn't look the same. But KD's going to be fine. I mean, Harden's going to be fine. Because remember when Harden got here last year and Harden damn near took over our team? We were praising that man up and down. But the second he got hurt, it changed everything.
Right.
And I personally think he's still not 100% from that hamstring. I'm just convinced. I still think he's working his way back from that. Because even when the season ended and he went on and did his world tour and hung out, he still had to get back in shape. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there was still like some lingering issue of not being able to be 100% and working his way back, because the type of hamstring injury he had does take a while to get back. And then it's like, you got to think a good portion of that offseason, he was healing from that hamstring, right? You know, and then it delays your ability to work out. So I think we're just seeing a not fully in shape Harden, in my opinion. But hey, anybody got questions? Just hit up at Saint. Looks like I'm gonna try it. Anybody Rage, Chubbs? Anybody hit you up about coming up?
No, I haven't got anything.
I think I got last time we had somebody here. Eddie, let me hit him up. He wanted to come up. I think last time he came on, his phone wasn't working or he dipped out. So we're going to give him one more roll and see if it works. Give Eddie another run in here. Polo, I don't know if you're still watching. I sent you a link. Yeah, I agree with your boy right here. Claxton has raw talent, but we have to plug him in strategically. Hopefully, as the season goes on, he will get better. If not, we're in a win now mode, which means he might have to go. I mean, my whole thing is like, we are in that win now mode, and granted, it's different without Kyrie as well. It does change the dynamic, but the way I look at it is, if we had the big three, if Kyrie was here right now, the way I look at it, and if all these guys were locked on, my whole opinion would be, you make whatever move you have to do to get us that chip. And I'm not beholden to any outside of the big three. Like, I think I'm more partial to Like I want to keep Patty, want to keep LaMarcus, want to keep Paul Millsap, want to keep Bruce Brown, but everybody else I'm not beholden to on the team. And if any one of those guys got us something extremely better, like a Miles Turner or something that I see a lot of people keep putting in the chat, like trade Joe Harris, Clax for Miles Turner. Like if you, I wouldn't say no. Like I just wouldn't. Like if you offered Joe Harris up in a trade, or you offered up Clax in a trade that got us somebody like that. Not saying we're going to get a guy like that, but if we had the potential to get somebody like that to add to our team, I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't. Let's see, a couple people. I did read today at saying, do you think KD, Harden playing to LA playing tomorrow? I do. I think KD and Harden will. I'm not sure about LA. Nash did. There was some sort of quote from Nash today saying that he feels a lot more comfortable with KD playing back-to-back games.
Yep.
It will remain to be seen if he does tomorrow. But he did make a comment kind of saying, hey, he's more inclined to let him play this year in comparison to last year. So very, very may well see them play last year. Let's see. Blake Griffin would not have played today if BB would not have played today if Blake would have played. Pathetic or no? I mean, I think Bruce Brown was going to get played today whether Blake played or not. I know Blake got sat out for rest, so we'll definitely see Blake tomorrow. I think Millsap only got like 8-10 minutes, so I'm pretty sure we'll see him tomorrow.
I think Millsap is definitely. At first, when I saw Blake Griffin and was out, I was like, maybe this means Millsap gets a lot of time, and maybe Millsap sits out tomorrow. Well, right now I'm thinking Millsap definitely plays. I think obviously Blake is playing tomorrow because Nash said he was, but I was confused. I was like, why didn't we see more Millsap with Blake being out?
Am I wrong, chat? Like, I mean, chat, hit me up, people. Like, I'm looking at. I mean, am I wrong? But like, in 8 minutes, he was 1 for 3. He hit 1 3-pointer. He hit both his free throws. He had 3 rebounds. He had 3 assists. He had 2 steals. He had 1 block. He was the only plus guy in the lineup. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I don't really get like they have Kevin Durant as at -10. Like
was Mills a plus?
Stupid, but yeah, he was the only plus in the lineup. Like sometimes that plus minus to me is like it just doesn't make any sense. But I mean, in 8 minutes,
isn't it like when they're on the court, maybe like they score 2 points, we score 3, it's a +1, right? Is that?
Yeah, I gotta look into that more of that plus minus because sometimes.
It doesn't really matter. It's just like with him, like the other team is beating us while he's just trying to score every point. Like you're still obviously going to end up losing if KD has to do everything, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but even Millsap, like I hope it's like, dude, Millsap only got 8 minutes and he still was highly effective.
Like plus minus doesn't really matter unless you're like a -35. Then you're like, oh, okay, well, you know, what do you do? What's the point of having this guy? And like. Javon Carter's plus minus, I think, was definitely really bad. Can you check that out real quick if you have it?
Let's see. Yeah, Javon Carter's was -20.
That's
KD was -10. Joe Harris was -17. Claxton was -9. James Harden -15. Patty Mills 11. Patty didn't have the greatest game today. He
didn't shoot well, but I mean, it seems like the team. It's crazy how the team does better with him.
Well, nobody was shooting well at all tonight. Like overall, outside of KD,
there was nobody shooting.
It was not a great shooting night, especially from 3. 9 for 35. That is so many points right out there that are just left. I mean, obviously the turnovers. But all right, we're gonna give Eddie another run at this. What's going on, Eddie?
Hey, yeah. So yeah, it's nice to be here. But first off, I just wanted to thank everyone for letting me join. But another question I had is, so with this Nick Claxton situation, the way I see it, I feel like LMA is like he's the best center. Whether you want to start him or bring him off the bench, he's the best center. So
yeah, I think that's a safe. I think everybody. Is there anybody in chat that thinks LA is not the best center on our team right now? Yeah, I think that's safe to say that is a true statement.
Yeah. So my question, so in the playoffs, let's say we're going against the Bucks or the Sixers, we need that other 5, that true center, that other guy to depend on, and it can't be Claxton, it looks like. So what are we going to do?
Well, again, not to panic. It is the third game in. We could see. I mean, how many times, let me ask you this, Eddie, how many times, and I'm not saying this is going to happen with Claxton or not, who knows, but how many times have you seen a player not have a great start of the season, get benched, work in practice a lot, work on his conditioning, and then come in the second half of the season and have a much better season?
Yeah, it's happened. I mean, Shamet had that last year, so yeah.
Yeah, right? Like, people in the beginning of last year, Shamet, they made him turn off his fucking Instagram. Like, they were out for that guy, right? Trade Shamet. Shamet's the worst. Now you see a ton of people in chat, oh, I miss Shamet. And he turned it around, right? And now he's having a good run with the Suns. But
he had himself a bag. He actually got he got an extension.
Yeah. So I mean, at this moment, if like obviously obviously if Claxton plays like this the rest of the year, yes, you have a very good concern going into the playoffs. It's hard for me to answer that at the moment in the sense of saying that you hope somebody like Claxton can turn it around. I know Nets Nation we can get down on a guy and go in all on him and think that there's no hope for him. But I'm not ready at that moment to say that Clax can't turn it around. Right. He is young. He is surrounded by a lot of intelligent players. You can already see KD, Harden, people going in on him. So I would like to see what goes forward, like within the next month or two, like how they handle Clax. Like if they do sit him down, if they don't give him the starts, like I can understand him getting the start just because he's younger and you can put more minutes on him than you could LaMarcus. But that'll be a good question, man. I hope to God your question is not come to fruition, because I would like to be able to go into the playoffs with that position not really being an issue, knowing what LA can give you. And then it would be nice that if we still have Claxton, that we don't have to have the concerns that we have right now within the first 3 games.
Right. And the only reason go ahead. Sorry.
No, go for it.
The only reason I mention that is because I know right now Mayers Leonard, I believe, and I think DeMarcus Cousins, they're still available. I feel like they would be perfect, to be that second 5 in the playoffs. That's just my, I guess it's just the third game, but that's just my 2 cents, with the situation.
Yeah, I don't know that we really are. I mean, I would have been happier if we picked up some other guys, like when we had a chance to get Isaiah Hardenstein. I would have been okay with him getting picked up. I know we had some other opportunities to maybe pick up a smaller center like that, but at this point, I don't know. I'm not really DeMarcus Cousins, I'm not really, I'm not really, if you gave me the option to keep Clax over DeMarcus, I would take Clax all day long. There's no debate on that. I get what you're saying, having an extra person there or thing, but in the reality, at this point, I don't think it's worth it. I think it's better for us to wait. It's better to wait till trade deadline, look for buyouts, see who gets bought out. I think I would much rather pick up somebody in that realm than pick up one of these guys that's not even on a team right now. Right. I mean, there's a reason why most people in the league are not picking them up. You know what I mean? Right. But yeah, we don't need a big slow center because he is not fast anymore. He's got his, I can kind of agree with where. Yeah, I agree with Cakespoo there. But we did have a point where we could have picked up Isaiah Hardenstein. I don't know about Drummond. I don't know. I think Rage would be low-key happy if we picked up Drummond. I think you would, Rage. Don't lie. If Drummond was on the team, you would kind of be happy. Because I know you still have that Drummond jersey.
I don't.
Yes, you do. Don't lie.
I swear I don't. I don't, bro. I had Drummond jerseys when I was younger, bro. Younger. I had to have been 8 or 9 years old.
What happens to the Drummond jerseys now?
Yeah. He's got a Drummond jersey.
They're lost. You know how many jerseys I used to have that I cannot find now? I have so many jerseys.
Right. And I'm curious. So what's the best five looking like if Joe Harris isn't? Because it sounded like you guys didn't want Joe Harris to start. So
I've never wanted Joe Harris to start.
right.
Ever. I've
So-
never, even last year.
Right.
I mean,
And it.
are,
Oh, go ahead.
no, are you asking what we would think our starting five should be right now?
Yeah, because just from process of elimination, if it's not going to be Joe Harris, it doesn't look like you guys like Javon Carter, and we're not starting Cam Thomas or David Duke.
It's not that
Right.
I don't like Javon Carter. I just don't think he's a starter. I think he's
Right.
great. I think he's great defensively. I just think his other skills are too spotty to be
They
consistent.
outshadow the defense.
Right.
Yeah, like his defense is where it's at, but his other areas, like he can be good at them sometime, but he's just too inconsistent, in my opinion, in those areas. I would personally like KD, Harden. I honestly would like Bruce Brown starting at this point without Kyrie. I would like Bruce Brown in there.
I think his shot improved. I
Yeah,
would,
it
I
did.
would, I
It
would
very
give him
much did.
Yeah, I would give him an opportunity.
I agree. I think he should be starting. I'd be willing to see the lineup with him, even with Claxton or LaMarcus. Of course, I want LA to start. I just don't know realistically how much they're going to do that because of his health stuff that we talked about earlier.
And that makes sense.
As far as power forwards concerned,
Millsap, you have Millsap and Blake Griffin.
I like
Millsap,
Millsap.
and I honestly I would like Millsap, but I don't think you could go wrong either way.
Yeah. I mean, Blake's shot
don't.
looks off this year, though. I will say that.
I just think he's having a slow
Yes,
start.
The one thing I can say is he hasn't really. I mean, he's taken shots, but like he hasn't taken like a bunch of shots. It's not like he's
Right.
It's just obviously it hasn't made them, but I think it'll pick up as time goes on because he was making threes last year.
Yeah. I mean, once his shot picks up, they're pretty much the same player to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think. How will I say this? I think Blake is faster than Paul Millsap. Millsap and LA look good together, but I think that really slows you down defensive. Like it really slows down that area a lot. So I would be okay with trying out the different lineup of Blake or Paul Millsap. I think if you keep Blake in there over Millsap for starting, it does allow you to stay a little bit faster. But I also understand why they could kind of go to like today's thing because it is a faster lineup with Claxton and Javon Carter. Even though it didn't work and it didn't look good, it is a faster lineup. So I can understand that. I think Nets Nation, and I'm going to have to accept that we are going to see those different starting lineups because I do think they're going to really cater towards whether going big or small or fast or slow, depending on who we're facing.
Yeah.
And I do think we are, as much as I don't like it, and I wish we had a set starting lineup, I think we are going to have a lot of different starting lineups like we did last year. Not as many, not 40 plus, but I do think we are going to see different lineups a lot this year.
Right.
Especially until Kyrie, if he does come back or not, because that's still yet to be seen. But
yeah. I feel like when Blake comes back tomorrow, I think he does start. I don't think they put him on the bench. They haven't really done that. But I think they start him. I would like, obviously, I really want LaMarcus to start because he's been doing everything right. There hasn't been any bad things that we've seen from Aldridge. Am I mistaken? He's been doing great with everything.
Phoenix!
As far as I'm concerned.
What do you want from Pizza Man Dance?
That's a crazy name for a pizza shop. I'm sorry. That name is insane.
That's
Pizza
crazy.
Man Dance.
No, but on the topic of starting lineups and on the topic of what we want, Eddie, what would your starting lineup be? What would your ideal starting lineup be with the team right now?
Right now, it might be a little outlandish, but I would. I kind of want to start Cam. I want to see what he could do, and then like I would go with like a James Harden, Cam Thomas, KD. I like Millsap, and then LMA. That's my.
Yeah. My thing is with Cam Thomas is just like he's still a rookie. Obviously, he has upside, but I think it's kind of it's a little early to like put him in a situation like that, especially with Harden. When you want Harden to like actually like run the offense, how is he going to do that? Like how does Cam Thomas make any sense at all when you have James Harden on the floor because Cam Thomas is a scorer with the ball in his hands. He's the one. He's the one just creating shots for himself. Harden's not going to just. I don't really see Cam Thomas just spotting up and being that guy because you don't want Harden spotting up.
Right. The one thing I'll say, like James Harden, or I feel like the rest of the team should kind of coach him to try to spot up. But even if he doesn't spot up, there's so many situations where Joe Harris gets caught up, where he has to put the ball on the floor. He has to like try to do some like mid range, and he doesn't have that in his bag, and Cam Thomas does. So it's and that's just for starting, right? And then we could possibly close with Patty Mills. Like that's our best lineup with Patty Mills. But just to start, we could try Cam Thomas. That's just maybe the first 5 minutes just to get him, like some experience.
But put it this way, like to start Cam Thomas now, that's like the definition of throwing into the fire. Like,
right.
Cam Thomas is great. He's fearless for being a rookie, and he has that dog mentality that I like. But he has tunnel vision, and he's a chucker. He needs a lot of shots to get going. I don't know his ability to be off ball because a lot of his shots are with the ball in his hand. But it's not that wise to start him, but to have him come off the bench to be that scorer off the bench is way more realistic in my opinion.
I see that.
But honestly, I just want the starting five going forward. I want to see is Harden, Bruce, KD, Millsap, LMA.
Yep, that's my
literally.
I like that.
I'm done with Claxton starting. It's very apparent he's too young or too inexperienced for that role.
He still has too. He's still so. His skills are so raw.
The thing with Claxton too. I know State wants to wait, but he's not going to be a better free throw shooter.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to have anything in his bag. He has no post games. Like that's not going to happen this year. Like we're kidding ourselves.
I'm not saying wait on him this year. I'm just saying my question was, do the Nets wait because clearly
it's a contract year, and now if you extend Harden, you're giving him the biggest contract in NBA history.
Yes,
right.
Clearly he has other areas of his game to work on, his around the basket game, his free throw game, his energy game, and right now his defense is not there because I don't think he's in shape. I'm not saying wait on. I'm just saying my thought is, are the Nets willing to wait that long to get that in an area where you're comfortable? Nobody's going to be perfect. Not everybody's KD. So you have to keep that in mind. But I'm just wondering, I don't think they wait that long, especially give him a big contract.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to wait if there's no improvement. I don't think we're going to wait.
Especially if you don't see something huge.
When you think about it, it could be a very dicey, tricky situation because you either got to trade him or do something before the playoffs, and we got to get something in return for him.
Yeah, we are on borrowed time. Like, let's really look at it. Yes, Harden says he wants to commit here. Yes, he's openly said, I want to stay here. But look, a lot can happen from now to June. A lot can happen from now to April. A lot can happen from now to the trade deadline. We are on very borrowed time, and the only one of the big three signed is KD.
Right.
Claxton is still Claxton's development, unfortunately, we've seen it's still in a very young stage, an extremely young stage. And that's hard for us to admit, but Claxton is just not where we need him to be. And if push comes to shove, if a championship team needs to make that move, we're going to make that move.
Yeah. I think if the right trade is there, I don't see them not pulling the trigger. But hey, Eddie, I'm going to bring up one other guy and then we're going to close it out. I appreciate you coming up, bro.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah,
tomorrow we might go back at it tomorrow. We're still deciding whether tomorrow we're going to pull up here. We'll see how everybody with school and everything, but appreciate you coming up, dude.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah. Thanks for coming up, man. Have a good one.
No problem. Thanks.
Yeah. Have a good
one. All right,
Eddie.
Man. Late. Yeah, I'm just going to bring up No Limit, and then we're going to get out of here.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Cinema thing. But, if you got any questions, just shoot them out. We're not going to labor this on. I know AJ is a huge part of our stream, and it could probably not be as fun without him. We're doing our best.
I think the stream's going good.
No,
I
I
think
know,
I
I
think
know.
it's going
You,
smooth.
you know what I'm saying. I'm saying no.
Yeah.
AJ's got that
Yeah.
personality, bro. You know,
Of
Right,
course.
right.
I mean, he runs the show.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
gotcha.
What's up, No
Khalil!
Limit?
Yo,
What's
what's
good,
up?
man? What's good?
Are you already
Mr.
done? Do you think we should panic? Is the season over? Are
Mr.
you
Twitter
losing it?
himself. Mr.
Yeah.
Twitter
Nah,
himself is in the
yo,
building.
I mean, I don't even know how to feel right now, bro. To be honest with you,
He's sad,
like,
guys.
bro, we're only 3 games in, bro. There's 79 more games to go, bro. Like a lot can happen.
Only 79. Only
Yeah,
79.
we're a brand new team. You know, we got to get used to each other. But you know, I do have a little bit of concerns, bro, because I feel like this, bro. People say James Harden isn't in shape, right? But this is my take on it, bro. Last year, remember, James Harden said in the offseason last year, like, yo, I want out of Houston. He wants out. And then when he came in the first game against the Trailblazers with the Rockets, he came in mad fat. Like, we all saw that photo of James Harden.
Yeah.
The infamous
We all
photo.
saw that.
And
Yeah.
he came and dropped 44 like that, bro. So now they changed the rules because, you know, he does the hook, the step back and fall forward so he get the call and stuff like that. And now he's struggling to get 20 points, bro. And that's James Harden. He was averaging 36, bro. He was a 3-time scoring champ. Like, now he's struggling to get 20 points. That's crazy. Like, I just feel like it's the rule book that he has to adjust to. Because,
you
know,
No
James
Limit,
Harden, he has more free throws made than field goals made.
Right.
not to like did
what happened,
Harden just gave an interview, like, or he post game interview, and he kind of just said, like, hey, like, he knows the rules have changed, and he said he feels like he's already coming in the games with that stigma. Like, he said, I'm not going to try and complain about it, even though he was during the game, but as far as the foul calling, whatnot, he already just came out. He's like, I already feel like, and I said this earlier, where I feel like James Harden right now, as far as the fouls are concerned, I feel like he's in a playbook, right? And they are like, before the game, the ref looks at like who not to call fouls against, right? And I think he's on that page. And he kind of just said the same thing in a post, you know, in a news conference where he's like, I feel like I'm already a predetermined guy that's not going to get fouls. So he's basically saying, I gotta change things up. I think it's part of it. I think that's part of the game. I think definitely the thing with Harden is he's getting frustrated with the obviously no foul calls, but I do believe he's working his way back in, though.
Because look, 3 games in a row, James Harden scored 20 points or less. 3 games in a row. Plus the preseason, he wasn't really doing his thing. Also, that, like, you know, like, I just feel like he just gotta adjust to it. And also, like, I don't know why Steve Nash is playing Javon Carter over Bruce Brown, bro. Like, at some points in the game, bro, Bruce Brown came in and he just energized everybody with his defense, bro.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, Bruce Brown is the energizer, bro. I feel like he should be starting, bro. Bruce Brown, not Javon Carter. Like,
well, it was evident tonight. It was evident tonight.
Yeah, man,
he
it
looked
confirmed,
good with
like,
Harden. He looked good with the energy. I will be safe to say that I'm hoping that you will see not Javon Carter starting again.
Yeah, and also, like, dang, I feel like today, when James Harden went to the bench, when KD was running the show, like, I felt like it was better, and I'm surprised about that.
It looked a lot smoother, arguably.
Like KD, it's like he worked on his game. You could tell he worked on his game. KD.
Yeah, KD was more of a passer this game, and it showed like he's becoming more of that do-it-all type of guy. Even in the Sixers game, he was just doing it all.
Yeah.
So, maybe that's to take pressure off of Harden, him being more of being more like a passer. But I don't know, like,
yeah,
Harden needs to get better, man.
Bro, James Harden, he needs to start shooting mid-ranges also, bro. You can't only rely on the three-pointer. If the three-pointer not working, bro, just try the mid range, bro. You gotta shoot mid range shots, not only threes, bro. You feel me? Like, I'm not only gonna. It's not only James Harden's fault. I'm not gonna like. I'm disappointed because, bro, you're a superstar, bro. I'm expecting more from you. You're getting paid over 40 mil. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're James Harden, bro. Like, you averaged 30 for 3 straight years, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's no excuse, bro. You're held to a higher standard than the other players. And Steve Nash, he needs to work on his timeouts. Like, this been the same thing since last year. KD was telling him, bro, you got to call timeout today. I remember last year, Kyrie was like, bro, he called timeout himself, bro, because Steve Nash didn't call timeout when the other team went on a run. Like, Steve Nash, he has to work on that, bro. He can't just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He can't just sit there and just let the other team go on a whole run and then just call a timeout when we're like down 9 after we was up 4. Like, you know what I'm saying? He needs to work on that too. It's not only Harden. It's everybody. You know, we all just were just out of sync. You know, the rotations weren't that good. It just was a mess, bro. But I feel like it was no excuse for us to lose this game because I'm seeing people on Twitter or in the chat blaming. You know, I'm not gonna say no names. You know,
I know. I saw people saying Harden is trash. Harden is
bro.
suspect.
Harden, he
It's
just
like,
gotta.
come on, bro.
That's
It's like,
that's a drag, bro.
yeah,
Harden, bro,
like,
he
come
just has
on.
to adjust, bro, because you know he was a free throw junkie, free throw merchant, bro. Everybody knew this, bro. Like, we all like Harden, yeah, but you got to tell the truth about your favorite players' games, bro. Harden gets to the line a lot, bro. You know?
Well, I mean, clearly, I think Harden's got 2 things to do. You said it. I think he's got to learn to readjust his game now, where he was used to getting foul calls before, and now he's not getting them. So that changes his game because that was very much part of his game, being able to get to the free throw line. Now it's obviously not happening. Now they're obviously not calling a lot of fouls on him that weren't even, and that's the thing, the fouls that they weren't calling on him were not ones that were like ones that you knew Harden was used to really good at drawing and maybe were on that because he does do he used the 3-point line, whatever. That one's an obvious one. That a lot of people were getting away with it with. I was never a fan of like getting your guy up in the air and you could just
Jump into him.
deliberately jump into him. I get it, right? It's like you're kind of creating the contact. Like just as much as the defensive guy, you also have to be able to avoid the other guy for offense reasons at times. So I get that. But the ones that I think are suspect, like the other move that he would do is he was really good at that. Like if you put your arms out, like he would be
The
able to
hook arm.
slide it. Yeah, the hook arm. And he was really good at it. But now they're not even calling like blatant like hand fouls. Like
blatant
arm fouls,
driving fouls. Maybe he gets hit
Driving,
on. Maybe he gets slapped in the face. They won't call. You know, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, he also has to take care of the ball. Like he had 8 turnovers.
You can't have 8 turnovers no matter what. Like
Yeah, he had 8 turnovers.
And those were just lazy pass.
Sloppy
turnovers,
lazy sloppy
turnovers.
The thing was a lot of the turnovers were like it's like you don't need to fucking throw the ball at maximum speed at 100 miles per hour, bro. You don't need to do that.
Those are mental mistakes, bro.
Fast, you know?
Like a lot of his turnovers, he could have just did the floater and that's it, bro. He didn't always have to. Like, bro, Kyrie is not here, bro. You gotta be more of a scorer, bro. KD can't just do it. Like, bro, KD had 38, bro, and we got ran out of the gym.
Yeah,
without
KD looking like
sitting
a
on the
today,
bench.
Yeah.
With
LaMelo
LaMelo Ball sitting on the bench, bro. We got cooked by Ish Smith in the 4th quarter, bro. Ish Smith, bro. That's a backup point guard in this league, bro.
And we made him look good.
Yeah,
let me read some. Let me read
looking
some
like
quotes.
Jordan, bro.
Let me read some quotes from chat. Try from streams. Mark Jackson said the Nets are not being aggressive on offense. He said they need to drive harder into the paint instead of hanging out on the perimeter. I see some of that. Let's see who else. Where was the other one? Your boy said it's bad coaching right now and not good health and finding our chemistry. Stupid.
I mean, but hey,
we need to start a petition for Harden to start shooting way more in mid ranges. Anytime he pulls up for mid range, it's money. I'd like to see that.
At least
Spoon.
the Lakers is 0-2.
Yeah. Cake Spill, I think Harden has a new league of youngs to contend with, and the dribbling needs to be more guarded. He can't do it. He can't do that now. Facts that the guards are getting a lot quicker and a lot better. Like they are getting a lot quicker and defensively.
Yeah.
You can't be lazy. A lot of these kids are coming up trying to. Musa and this. I don't know how to say your last name. He said Harden nerfed. So Harden got nerfed.
Harden got nerfed.
They
nerfed
updated him
him.
in 2K.
He got patched, bro.
They
He got patched.
They patched
He
him,
got
bro.
patched. Yeah. They put out a patch. Yeah, that shit's funny.
Crazy, bro. Bro, I feel like
Raheem
tomorrow, bro,
still-
the media is gonna cook James Harden tomorrow, bro. I could just feel it.
Oh yeah, you know.
I just think they're gonna
The
cook
good
us
thing-
in general.
They're gonna
Yeah.
cook the Nets. The Nets
They're gonna-
lost the game, and
But
the
bro,
Nets suck, and I
but
mean,
they
where are
won't.
they
But they
going?
won't cook the Lakers, bro. Lakers 0-2, bro, and AD and Dwight Howard is fighting on the bench, bro.
Such a
But
Well,
we're
but that's
gonna get
because
over this.
if we had a mouthpiece like Shannon Sharp, right? Like somebody that was as strong as those guys or Stephen A. Smith on their teams, it wouldn't be as bad. But we just
Yeah.
don't have that mouthpiece. Like
Some
Raheem Spell said they're trying to get Claxton's trade value up. That's all.
Maybe.
well, Claxton sabotaging himself then.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, everybody got to step up, bro.
But
Everybody.
even Harden's floater,
Seemed off a little bit.
it seemed a little like. But see, that's the thing. I don't know if what I was seeing was his floater being off, or there was times he was expecting Claxton to go for the lob, and it just wasn't working. Like
For some-
even the Claxton to Harden thing looks off.
It does. It doesn't
It
look like
really-
how it looked
that
last
doesn't
year.
look
you
like-
used to be able to
In
just be like,
comparison
all
to
right,
last year, yeah.
used to be able to be like, all right, we have an easy lob. We have an easy lob to Claxton. Like, there's not like that easy anymore. You know, like
It seems game plan for it now. Honestly.
I do, yeah. I very much.
Because look at it this
but
way: so many people camp in the paint now. Like I'm noticing this. A lot of teams are camping in the paint whenever Harden drives because they know either one, it's gonna be a floater, or two, it's gonna be a lob, and they just clog that paint to prevent them from going in there.
Bro, and also like, Joe Harris got to be better too, bro. Like today, it was an off night for him too, bro. Like sometimes
do we think ISO Harden is becoming less like, for instance, like say we were full strength, we had Kyrie. You could arguably say that like KD, Kyrie, ISO is not an issue, right? Like there's no issue there.
No.
But is Harden ISO starting to dwindle, right? Like I don't want to say is his age, like Midnight said, it's coming to an end of ISO. I don't want to say that his age is an issue, but is Harden's ISO game not as effective as it once was? Like we've seen him have moments that
I'm
it's
telling
picking
you,
up.
bro. It's because of the rule book, bro. He has to adjust. Because look, last year.
No, but I'm not even
he
talking
was
about
skinny.
drawing fouls. I'm just the times that we saw.
Harden is still
before
beating his
Harden
players
came-
off the dribble.
Yeah.
To me, he's still beating his players off the dribble. To me,
it's him finishing or like when like we or him making a bad decision with like that's where the turnovers come into play. He'll get someone with a good move and then just throw the ball at Claxton's feet at 100 miles per hour.
Yeah.
And this is another good point to throw in there. Pretty tone 10-1077 said camping in the paint, because when you guys brought up the camping in the paint because we have floor spacing, I will agree that the floor spacing is not that great when even it. Or I would say
Bro,
this,
like when you play
like even
James
with
Johnson
Harris
and Claxton,
in there
bro.
and the floor spacing, it hasn't been effective though either.
When you play James Johnson and Claxton, like the spacing is terrible to me.
Yeah. And with Joe not hitting his shots, it's not. It'd be one thing because the other thing I noticed with Joe tonight too was every time they got him to a ball, he was rushed off.
He
his
would
spot
hesitate. He would also
immediately-
hesitate.
No, he would either hesitate because he got more pressure, or he was rushed off his spot right away.
Yeah.
That's the other thing I think teams are.
They're running him off the
Also-
3-point line.
They're also I think teams this year have adjusted. You can see, to me, in my opinion, just in the first 3 games, what I've seen is I think teams have definitely concentrated on Joe Harris more and rushing him off his shot and D'ing him up, which usually then he hesitates to shoot or not. And I definitely think that they're playing the Harden and Claxton thing a little bit better than they have last year. At least that's my impression the first 3 games. I feel like teams have played that better in comparison to last year.
Well,
Yes, the team does need K-Cock. I agree.
facts.
Okay.
All right.
K-Cock ruined my whole losing K-Cock ruined my I had a whole segment for that guy. It would have been beautiful. But hey,
K-Cock segment.
we're going to start wrapping it up. Kai, you can stay in. If you got any last minute questions, comments, just do @Saint. We're going to wrap this up and get out of here. I unfortunately have to fucking go to work tonight. Thank God.
Nah,
That's
facts.
great.
I gotta go right now. My mom's calling me to eat.
Mom, she ringing the bell. My grandma mom used to ring the bell. I'd have to come. That shit's funny. But hey, if you got any questions, just throw it out. We'll go off with that, and we'll just in a minute here we'll do our last words. We might be around tomorrow. We might not. Not quite sure yet. See if I'm awake after an early morning shift. Might just sleep all day.
All right, I'm gonna catch y'all later.
Yep.
All right,
Catch y'all
no.
later, bro.
All right.
But
Yeah, any last questions?
I'm not seeing it. But hey, go ahead. Yeah, Rage, go ahead, cook up with your last words, and we'll get out of here.
I have one question before we get out of here. Has there been anybody that has looked perfect to you that you really don't have any complaints?
Patty.
I think
I mean, Patty didn't have a great game tonight, but Patty, no issues. KD, 0 issues. I don't have any problems with LA at all.
Yeah. Outside of the Bucks game, LaMarcus has been great.
I think LaMarcus has been really good. Like just these last 2 games really mattered. Like you saw how much he mattered last game. You see how well he did this game. I think he's perfect. He was.
But be realistic though. But the other thing we got to be realistic too though is that you're gonna have on and off games for Blake, Paul Millsap, LaMarcus.
You're gonna have on and off games for everyone. Everybody in the league.
And I think that's part of the problem is everybody's expecting people. Here we got a question. Do you think Nash needs to start playing the new rookies, or are they not ready yet? We kind of addressed that earlier. Who is it? Usable Fiber. We talked about that earlier in the sense of it's like I know people are already screaming for Cam, Sharp. I love Sharp. I want to see Sharp out there more, right? But the reality is if the starting lineup and the role player situation is not even set and we're having issues there, I definitely don't see them trying to fit in the rookies right now. I think that would be a great question if our starting lineup was solidified or we knew what our game plan was. We knew who was coming in when, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think if we had that solidified, then you could make the case for giving these guys more time. But right now we are still figuring it out, and we're figuring it out with the guys that are arguably better than these rookies right now. And that's what's frustrating. I think it's easy to go, well, fuck, if we're playing that bad, we might as well put him in. I think once we figure it out, I think you might start seeing these guys a little bit more, but I think it's way too soon for that to even try to make them part of the rotation at the moment.
Right.
Yeah, Age said we're being game planned more easily. Opponents can focus in on other players more. What could be wrong? Claxton. No. He's saying, and I know Age has not wanted to come on because he probably didn't want to defend himself from Clax, but I know who he's talking about. The big elephant in the room, the no Kyrie.
The elephant in the room is the perfect way to describe that.
Age, do you think this is all like if Kyrie was here, we wouldn't be having any of these problems? Like, because that's where I wonder how many people in chat that are still here. We got about how many people think that it's literally all Kyrie's fault? Like, if Kyrie was here, we wouldn't be having these issues. Like, I wonder how many people think that.
But then I'll ask you this: do we really need Kyrie to beat the Hornets? Like, let's really be realistic. Yeah,
we should have won this game. This game was winnable, in my opinion. It's not panic. I know some people on Twitter were Like, oh well, it's just. I'm like, it's not panic. I think you can still give criticism of a game that you feel like you should have won. It's not panic. I know we'll figure it out. We'll be fine. We'll probably beat these guys again. It won't be an issue, and we'll laugh at this game. But it is. This is a game we should have won. There's no reason we should have lost this game.
That's true.
Ah, man, like yes, we need Kyrie. Yes, it's bad that he's not here, but it's the damn Hornets. Yes, they're good, but it's the Hornets compared to what we have. We should have blown these
Well,
guys out the water
but I
realistically.
mean, to be fair, the Hornets are a good team. They are
Yeah,
not a trash team anymore. But
not,
I,
they're not
I
scrubs
even
by
think
any means. They're not
I'm not
scrubs by
even.
any means.
Yeah, I'm not saying we should have blown them out. I'm just saying we should have at least beat them by a 5 to 10 point margin
Yeah, I agree.
without it being so difficult. Like I don't want to go on the blowout market because they do have a much better team and they are going to fight for a play-in. I guarantee it by the end of the year. I think they will be try to fight for a play-in. So they're not a scrub team, but we shouldn't have.
We
We
should have
easily
had.
should have beat them.
We should have had
Yeah.
the edge.
Kyrie or not, we should have easily handled this team. Like yes, they're gonna fight. They're a gritty team. They're gonna be scrappy. They're gonna be in your face, ready to punch you in the mouth, catch you lacking. But with or without Kyrie, we should have won this game. Realistically, we should have won this game.
Yeah. All right, Rage, you got or Chubb, you got anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Uh,
Like the stream. It was a good stream. It was a good stream. Not having AJ on. He's doing well with his vacay. Obviously we didn't come out victorious, but I think we all know we'll be fine in the end. It's only 79, what is it, 78 games left, whatever. There's so much. There's so
it'll
many.
be 78 tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's 70. Yeah, 70. There's only 79 games left. Oh, only 79 games left. So you gotta remember at the end of the day that we have a lot of time, and it's just the start of the season. Everyone's still getting used to each other. We still have a bunch of new guys that have to build chemistry. That it's still a work. It's still a work in progress, but we'll be all right in the end. It all turns out to be right.
Yeah. Well, in the words of somebody that was on here before, Jay from Brooklyn, relax. I'm not in panic mode. I don't feel good today. I kind of feel like I'm catching something like a little cold. Either I got cold or COVID or something. I don't know. I don't feel good anyways, and I got to work in a couple hours, but I was a little bummed. I felt like this was a winnable game. I'm not panicking. I don't think it's the end of the world. A little irritated and frustrated with some of the today's starting lineup. I definitely think Bruce, from this point on, there should be no more experimenting without Bruce in the lineup. Shit, I don't think so. I think you gotta throw some other games in there without Clack starting. I think it's time to put Harris on the bench a little bit too. I mean, if you're going to experiment, why can't you experiment with the opposite of what you're putting out now? That's kind of my take. Like, if you're going to experiment, then give me that lineup. Give me KD, Harden, Bruce Brown, Blake or Paul Millsap, and LA. Let me have that. Like, at least once or twice in the next 6 games, I'd like to see that lineup. I'd like to see how we play with Joe coming off the bench and with Claxton coming out. I'd like to see it. I'd be, if you're going to just keep trying shit out, that's what I want to see. But all in all, we're back at it tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see who the starting lineups are on a back-to-back. Other than that, appreciate you guys like hanging around. Yes, AJ, I believe, will be back on the 26th. So after the 26th, he'll be back. We're going to take a vote tomorrow. May or may not go live, but we'll see. But appreciate you guys coming out tonight. People that have hung around, about 100-something people still hanging around. Appreciate it. Chubbs, Rage, love you guys as always. Nets Nation,
Yep.
win or lose, always be Nets Nation. It is what it is. Was not now you motherfuckers come on right.
You gotta close it out.
Gotta close it out. We gotta close it out. We have stage fright. We have stage fright. We have stage fright, bro. Relax.
So you're leaving me up here all alone by myself on Face, and you guys are just hiding. I
Bro,
see.
What?
not to but
I
to
don't know what you're
interrupt,
talking
I don't
about.
know. Like with my lights off, I literally look like Zordon from Power Rangers, just a really like a broke
You
version
look
of
like a
Zordon from
floating,
Power
yeah,
Rangers.
you look like a floating head right now.
Just straight floating head
See, and
action.
whenever, yeah, and Rage before, when Rage didn't have his light on, every time he would lean back, he would look like a dream sequence, and he would like fade out and be like, "Peace out."
No more fading out.
Like
No more
what's
fading
that
out.
meme of that
Oh
one? What's
man.
the meme of that one kid, the one black kid who like throws the peace sign and he fades
Yeah,
away?
yeah, yeah.
Like
Oh yeah,
that
I like that, like that.
that was Rage earlier. Like every time he would lean back, he would just fade away. Oh
Yeah.
shit. Yeah, man. We'll get back at it tomorrow, bro. It ain't what we wanted, but it is what it is. But appreciate Nets Nation coming out. Love you guys. Until tomorrow. Peace.
Peace.